about to give you a look at a new movie that would blend both the art style and storytelling techniques of Studio Ghibli films with the art style and animation techniques of Disney animation films. And together we're going to see what would happen if Disney made a Studio Ghibli film, and would it result in a much better movie than the stuff that they've been giving us lately? Well, let's see. Up next. So let's start with the main character of this new story, who I'm calling Leora. Leora is not quirky, not clumsy, but deeply observant and emotionally intelligent. She is a princess, but a very soft princess. She has a very soft voice, and she likes to hum tunes without realizing it. What if she just lost her mother, and we open this story with her holding on to her mother's red scarf, looking out the window wistfully as she remembers her mother? In true Disney and Studio Ghibli fashion, what if the scarf actually played songs whenever you listened to it, like it was an enchanted scarf, so she could always hear her mother singing whenever she listened to it? I think this would add a really nice emotional core to the movie, but also a lot of charm and magic, so that's why I wanted to make this scarf enchanted. I also think this would make her a really interesting character as she's holding on to this charmed, enchanted scarf, pining, wishing for her mother to return. I think that this would just make her a lot more interesting character than a lot of the other Disney princesses we've seen lately. At the very least, I think it would make her stand out. Then what if when she goes to sleep, she actually has a dream that's a memory of her and her mother underneath a giant tree in the woods, and she can hear her mother's lullaby even in her dreams. Her final words, "When the wind returns, so shall I." Sure enough, when she wakes up, the scarf is gone. She panics, but she can hear her mother's voice coming from the scarf. So she chases after it into the woods. But the woods start changing around her the deeper she goes into it. And soon she finds herself in a very enchanted, whimsical woods with mystical creatures that you would see from Ghibli films. The entire woods stuns her as it's not as she remembers. She can still hear the faint sound of the scarf in the distance. I think all of this is very Ghibli-esque. A lot of Ghibli movies have enchanted woods with creatures in them. I mean, think of Princess Mononoke, or even the most recent The Boy and the Heron. I'm imagining this is the same sort of mystical woods that you would see in those movies. And I think that would be really good for Disney, just because a lot of their movies have been very plot driven, and I don't mean that in a good way. I like the idea of the main character just going in like a very immersive, beautiful environment and having that drive the plot for a bit, slow down and have those smaller moments that you commonly see in Ghibli films. But while she's in the woods, she runs into a spirit guide, a young man who says he's there to help her. She's not sure whether she should trust him. He's just a random guy in the woods. I like the idea that they're not immediately friendly. I like there being a bit of tension there at first. Leora tells him that she's looking for her mom's scarf, and he's like, "Yes, I already know." And he's very mysterious. I like him being the sort of mysterious spirit who kind of already knows her motives ahead of her. I think that would be kind of fun. So they travel deeper into the woods as the guy is like guiding her through this mystical, charming forest. They can have lots of bonding moments, and this can be where some of the romance comes in. I think the idea of this sort of quiet, soft princess falling for this spirit boy is something Disney hasn't really done before. It's very Ghibli, but I think that's something that Disney should try. So the dude is like, "I know this place in the woods we can go to where lost memories go." And so he takes Leora to this enchanted part of the woods where she can see runes on the trees and music notes flying everywhere, as it seems like the whole place is alive with music and memories. This can be another quiet moment between them as he's like gazing at her and admiring how much she's into this. This can be a very charming moment if done right. I think this is also a nice way for Disney to show more lore through atmosphere and visuals rather than just a lot of info dumping. In this movie, the visuals would really guide the style and the tone of the movie in a way that I think would just be more interesting. So the spirit boy takes her to this magical stone that's supposed to hold your most precious memory, and you can open it as long as you have like a deep connection to that memory. Leora thinks that her mom's scarf is in there, and she tries to open it. But she struggles and she can't actually open it, and she gets defeated, and she's like, I came all this way into this forest for nothing. And she sits down and is very sad. But as she starts to cry, this mystical, magical being of a woman emerges in the forest. She's like the ultimate spirit of the forest. She's like all the major mystical creatures and beings you've seen in Studio Ghibli films across the years. She tells Leora not to fret, because all she has to do is open her heart, find a way to connect to her mother in some way, and she will find what she's looking for in that box. So Leora decides to sing a lullaby that her mom used to sing to her as a kid. And it's a very sweet, emotional moment. This will be the emotional climax of the film. And then successfully, the stone box starts to open, and the mystical woman starts weaving all this magical light around her. And then before she knows it, her mother's ghost actually stands before her, coming right out of the box, shocking her. The two have an emotional meeting as she tries to say goodbye one last time, as her mother is only going to be there for a few moments. They cry, but this is good emotional catharsis for her because she needed this closure with her mother. And before she finally flickers away for the last time, she hands her her red scarf so that she can keep it forever, just before she disappears. This would be a better ending than a lot of endings we've gotten from Disney movies lately. This would be an emotional resolution, not just some mere spectacle for spectacle's sake, as there often are in Disney films these days. Ghibli films are known for having more emotional catharsis than a bunch of action, which is why I went this route with the ending. The big spirit lady would be like, oh, you got what you came here for, my job is done. And then she too would disappear back into the woods. Unfortunately, the spirit boy, who Leona had grown close to over her journey in the woods, wouldn't be able to leave with her since his soul is tied to the forest. This would lead to an emotional goodbye scene between them as they both finally admit their emotions for each other. I would even give them a nice tearful kiss goodbye to really seal that bond. And I think this would also be another bittersweet moment, but would deepen their bonds between the two characters to make that relationship actually memorable. Then Leona would walk away as the sun is beginning to rise, feeling a lot more fulfilled now that she's had closure with her mom and she's been on this journey. And the movie ends with her emerging from the forest with her mother's red scarf around her neck, with her smiling, finally feeling free and ready to move on. Overall, the movie would end on a very peaceful note, like one of growth and renewal rather than one of triumph, which is very common for Ghibli films and very different for Disney. I think the visuals, this blend of the Studio Ghibli aesthetic with the Disney aesthetic, could create something gorgeous, as you've seen with these visuals. And I think this would be a movie that would do really well for Disney. I think this is the kind of film that would get Disney fans back on board, and I think would give the company really a lot of critical credibility that they've kind of lost over the years. So that's my take on what if Disney made a Studio Ghibli movie. I hope you really liked it. I tried not to completely rip off Studio Ghibli style. That's why I kind of created a new one that was a blend of the two. I hope you liked it. I hope you liked the story. If you like what you saw here, I'm doing more what if videos. I'm doing a whole series, so make sure you subscribe for more videos like that and like this video so the algorithm knows to push it out more. And I'll see you on Friday with the next what if video. Bye.